opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Interlagos, the second round of the Boremula 1 World Championship. And it feels like a long, long time since the last one, does it not? My name is Chaz Dracop, and I'm delighted to be back with you again for the second round of the season. Unfortunately, my colleague Jack John's not with me this evening, but either way, I'm sure that one person's excitement alone will be enough to see you through a good evening's racing. So, quick talking points then, as we are here for the second round, is of course the championship standings. Anybody that watched the first round will know exactly how close it was, but it was Cam Dance for Benetton that took the race win after taking pole position as well. Silas Cragvrolic and Christian Rose made it 2 McLarens on the podium at Phillip Island. Ben Gregory made it a good 4th place. Jake Blackhall was leading a lot of the race and ended up 5th. An interesting driver to note tonight that won't be with us is Ed May, who also led a lot of the race at Phillip Island. But still, we have not much in terms of spread in the points just now, as expected, with only one round being completed so far. But what we do have tonight is a mixed up qualifying format. So what we're going to be doing today is basically a run of all the cars going out one by one. We're going to be doing one-shot qualifying here tonight, and everybody is just going to do their own individual laps. No slipstream, no messing about, nothing. They all go out one at a time. This is Jake Blackhall using all of the runoff. He's currently fastest during practice. I think he may have had some sort of issue though, because he's sort of messing around on the edge of the circuit, stopping and starting. I think he's just doing practice starts actually. This is Pete Newman, currently 3rd fastest in the Benetton. Now there were a number of drivers calling for this change in qualifying because last time out qualifying was mainly down to slipstream. It was basically a case of who got lucky in the slipstream and who made the most of it when and where. Here's Christian Rose, another top performer from the first round. That livery looks fantastic on that shot, doesn't it, with the sun coming around. Hello everybody that's in the YouTube chat as well. Great to see you all. Christian's actually got his teammate Silas Craig Frolic next up behind him in qualifying order, or practice order at the moment I should say. We have our Lolas out there. Car 11 is P11 at the moment in the form of Martin Kenyon. Martin did score points in the first round of the season. Ended up with 2 points for his troubles, funnily enough, in P11 as well. So Martin will be looking to hopefully repeat a bit of that tonight. We've only got a few minutes left of practice. But to show you what these guys have to deal with this evening, I'd say it's probably worth having a quick look at another one of our wonderful track guides, which has been provided for us by Jack Styles. Get your eyes around this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, for a lap of the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, round number 2 of Boremula 1 into turn number 1, 2 and 3. This is the Senna S. This is a second gear corner, one of the slowest on the course. You want to get yourself lined up for turn number 2. It's flat out through 2 and 3. You want to carry as much speed as possible because that's going to be vital heading down onto this back straight. This is a long straight. Using that draft is going to be important. We're going to see some braking manoeuvres into turn number 4, and it will be who is going to be the last of the late breakers. Down to 4th gear, turn it in, pitch it in nicely, hit that apex, use as much exit as possible, use the torque of this rotary engine to get you back up this hill, back into 5th gear. You want to go as wide as possible there, don't scrub off too much speed. This corner here is going to be a light lift down to 4th, and just hold it tight on the inside. You can be flat on the exit, use all of that curb, you're then setting yourself up for turn number 8. Nice and tight on the inside here. Watch out for turn number 9. It's off camber. We are going to see some cars losing a little bit of a rear end. Watch out for that in qualifying, especially when we're going to be absolutely on the edge into turn number 10. Another slow corner here, 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour, but you want to get that exit right. It's going to give you a good run down the hill through turn number 11 into turn number 12. You can go quite wide here on the entry down into 3rd gear. You want to be looking for that inside curb, hit it nicely, use as much curb on the outside. You don't want to scrub off that speed, and then it's nice and tight up the hill. It's going to be again another drafting zone here, and that draft is going to be important into turn number 1. This is an incredibly long straight up the hill. Draft is going to be incredibly powerful here today in round number 2 of Formula 1.
Thank you very much to Jack Styles for providing that. Very, very grateful indeed. We don't need that music starting again, thank you. This is a man that needs a bit of luck this time round. Hasse Raymer, good mate of mine, fellow commentator as well. I've worked with Hasse quite a lot before. He didn't really make it 300 metres in the first race at Phillip Island. After just lighting up the rears off the start, he's going to want much better luck this time. He got collected by a couple of cars in the Tyrrell. And he's going to be hoping that him and his teammate can put times, or at least points, on the board. Although I say that, and to be honest with you, I forgot that Brian Crowles isn't here. We have 3 drivers not with us tonight, both the Prosts of Tim Perry and Craig Evans. And we do not have Brian Crowles either in the Tyrrell. Everybody else is with us though. We have our 2 Jordans. Khan Newen putting his first few laps in. Ben Gregory, 9th again, because that's where he was in pre-season testing to get that car. But we have everybody else with us. Morgan Butler's going well in 6th position. Now I did notice there is a bit of an issue with the camera that goes up here. Now, I hope you'll forgive me for this, but ready? Wait for it. Oh, it didn't do it that time. I basically edited the cameras for this circuit a little bit earlier just to get a few nicer angles and a bit more realism, because some of the cameras are really zoomed out on tracks like Interlagos. I've added a few more cameras up here so we see a bit more of an angle of the cars at lower level. You get this more zoomed in camera here. As they then power their way down to the straight, you can see the circuit doesn't even render in the background. But in changing some of the cameras and when they start, when they stop, unfortunately there was a little bit where it suddenly cut to one camera for about 2 frames, but that's just full disclosure. So qualifying then, it's going to be a very interesting affair this. championship graphic that was sent out last time after the first round of the season is what the drivers will be going from. So it will mean that Hasse Raymer, who we were just looking at a moment ago, will be the first car out on track. He's going to be followed by Morgan Butler, Rob Lundgren, and Pete Newman. It's going to be interesting to see what difference it makes with Pete going out early in the session. He is definitely one of the fastest, as we saw at Phillip Island. But it's great to have you all back with us. Very, very grateful. And I hope that you enjoy the second round of the championship, because let's face it, the first one was an absolute corker. So, qualifying. This is the first time a lot of these guys would have done this. So, Hasse is going to be the first one out. Now, this is going to get choreographed by Jakub Szymanski, who has very kindly offered to show us how it's done. Or at least to help get the cars out there. Yes, we have no Ed May, actually. Gilles, fair point. Yeah, Ed, unfortunately, falling ill this afternoon. He's okay, as okay as you can be. But, yeah, not in a fit state to be racing with us. So, Hasse Raymer on his way around the circuit. I'm going to just turn the car sounds up a little bit, actually. Just give him a bit more beef. Hasse's just taken a nice, easy first couple of corners here. Just preparing for his hot lap. This is what's going to be really interesting about this. Now I'm just going to try something here. Yes. Okay. So bear with me. We do have what's known as qualifying mode on SDK available here. So we will have the qualifying graphics. But Hasse is the first car to make his way around the circuit. And when he crosses a line, then this man, Morgan Butler, will then take off around the circuit as well. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that these boys can choreograph this well amongst themselves. Anyway, Hasse is the first car to cross the line officially in the Boremula 1 World Championship new qualifying format. Into turn 1 he goes. You're going to expect to see a little bit of care and caution from the drivers as this goes on, but there you go. You can see Morgan Butler emerging in the background. Hasse negotiates turns 1 and 2 nice and cleanly. Now the guys have been told to leave about 5 to 10 second gaps from each other. Morgan is doing that nicely at the minute. You can see the sectors in the bottom left of your screen there as well. Purple obviously is fastest out of everybody. Black is the sector that they're doing, and if it's white, that is basically just that they have completed the sector. No improvement, no personal best. Green is personal best, and that is that. Hasse runs a little bit deep over the curb. I think he might have just collected it though, but he's going to set the bar to begin this session. Looks nice and tidy so far, doesn't it? Into the second of the 2 hairpins. Nice and tight through there. You've got to take a very late apex. And when Morgan Butler crosses the line to start his fast lap, Rob Lundgren will get moving. But this has been a tidy first lap by Hasse Raymer. Great to see it. Shifty's in the chat as well. Good to see you, mate. You're going to be waiting a while, son. Sorry. Hasse makes his way now towards the line. We were seeing 130s in practice, and he goes over the line with a 132.353, and that'll be him. And there is Rob Lundgren creeping round, because Morgan Butler is now going to start his lap. And here he comes. You can see his teammate still creeping past the end of the pit lane. And there he goes, through turns 1 and 2. Look nice and aggressive there from Morgan. Plenty of pace. It is going to show Hasse's in lap, I believe. But he's just going to get a move on and crack on with it now. Shifty's going to go for a 3-course meal, he says. I love that. Morgan chucks it into turn 3, or at least turn 4, I think it is. Doesn't the arrows look great? Isn't it a gorgeous car? Easily one of the best looking Formula 1 cars ever made. He did a purple sector 1. Did not improve on Haas's Sector 2, though. So he's going to be pushing through the hairpin a little bit deep into there. Look at the four-wheel drift that the car gets on through there. I've driven a number of laps around here just to see what the drivers are dealing with. And it can be a real pig as... Oh, there goes a bit of oversteer for Morgan, but it's a purple Sector 3. He's got a 132.35 to beat. Uses all the runoff on the left-hand side. This final corners are so... This final corners, great English, Chaz. These final corners are so difficult as you go back up the hill. Hasarema has now entered the pits. And here goes Morgan. 132.353 to beat. He's clinging to the wall on the left-hand side. And across the line for Morgan, it is a 132... Sorry, yeah, 132.905. So he's not gone fastest. And he's going to be pushing and pushing now to continue. His teammate is next up. And then we're going to get Pete Newman, who's going to leave the pit lane in just a minute. This is Rob Lundgren. Completes the first couple of corners nice and tidy. Uses a lot of curb on the exit. Oh, I'd love a kebab as well, to be fair, Shifty, if you can grab me one. Morgan's actually done 2 purple sectors on his in-lap already. But this is Rob Lundgren that we're watching right now, his teammate. No purple sectors from him yet. Seems like Haase has really set a good bar quite early on at 32.35. I think, to be honest with you, both of the Arrows will just be happy to get to the end of the race. Both of them had their own individual nightmares at Phillip Island. I believe the Tyrrells did get some points on the board in form of Brian Crowell's. Yes, 4 points Brian Crowell's got on the board. Into the last couple of corners now comes Rob Lundgren. Chucks it in. You can hear the tyres scraping along the surface. No purple sectors yet, but it looks nice and tidy. Not overly aggressive from Rob Lundgren. What makes this even more interesting is the fact that some of these drivers will be very careful. You know, they won't be pushing the limits. 132.353 to beat. It's a purple final sector for Rob Lundgren, and it's a 133.4, which puts him 1.1 seconds off the top spot. Pete Newman is now using all of the speed in his locker to come through the final couple of corners. Carry all of that speed. Around the first 2 corners he goes. We'll go on board with Pete. Very, very fast is Mr. Newman. Listen to the car topping out there as you get down towards the end of the straight. Purple first sector for Mr. Newman. In the glorious, glorious Benetton. Sam Bentham questioning the realism of 10 points paying positions. Yes, I know. But we have 12 points paying positions in this championship. Because we just thought we'd at least open it up a little bit. I didn't want to be giving people 6 championship scoring positions. I think that'd be a bit too harsh and maybe people wouldn't want to stay involved. But Pete Newman's put up a couple of purple sectors in here. We did kind of expect Pete to be right up there. He was very, very quick at Phillip Island. Qualified 4th on the grid. He was fastest in the very first pre-season test at Alton Park before we got the championship underway. Let's see what Pete can do then. 132.353. And across the line he goes. And it is pole position 131.6 by nearly 3/4 of a second. Pete Newman goes fastest for now. Hasarema's time finally falls. And this is the next challenger. Another one of the very quickest from pre-season testing. Ben Hoffman in the Williams. The German had a tough time at Phillip Island, having an accident in the first lap with a couple of other cars. And Ben now powers his way down the straight. Seems nicely choreographed so far. So the guys are doing a mega job, it has to be said. Sam Bentham saying he expects big things of John Tusting. Well, he did all right in the Minardi, to be honest with you, last time out. Scored 3 points in 10th position. That car looks so good side on. I don't think the livery, well, actually, no, I'm going to phrase this correctly. I don't think this car does that livery justice from the front, I must admit. I think from the side, it looks bang on. 10 minutes of the session done already. Still plenty of time left to go here for us to get this completed. Around the final couple of corners. Flies Ben Hoffman. Purple sector 4. Can he beat that 31.6 set by Pete Newman? It's another personal best sector for him, and it's a 32.2, 6 tenths off. But he goes second fastest for now. Pete Newman holds on to his advantage. Next up we have a Stewart. One of the 2 Stewarts that we'll have with us tonight. Jakub Szymanski. Blinking in and out. He's the man that's basically been choreographing all of this, and we're very, very grateful for him doing that. He's been a real good hand at helping us with the championship. Down towards as he goes then in the gorgeous Stuart Ford. A car that was ridiculously unreliable in 1997. Rubens Barrichello and Jan Magnussen driving that machine. Rubens, I think, finished all but... it finished 3 Grand Prix that year. 2 of them were outside the top 10. One of them was a second place at Monaco in the rain. Quite incredible. But Jakub keeping it nice and tidy at the moment. No purple sectors from him yet. But he's going to be just hoping to try and beat the Tyrrells and the Arrows in this one. He's keeping it nice and tight on the exit of the hairpins, is Jakub. Flings it round to the left. Turns in a little bit early for the left-hander coming to the end of the lap. On the power now. We'll see the car accelerate up the hill, but these things top out so quickly. Just feels like forever down here. Look how close he is to the wall. 131.6 to beat. I think it's going to be a bit slower for Jakub. He doesn't quite get there. And it is 133.0. Goes faster than Lundgren, but is behind Morgan Butler. Now it's his teammate's turn. Craig Schill crosses the line and heads into turns 1 and 2. Toby Ward is going to be the next one to come out in the Minardi. Love watching that Stewart come towards us. The Malaysia branding on the back of it was very, very strange for even for its time in 1997. But the tartan on this was hand drawn. Let's see, how did Craig Schill match up? He's a little bit slower than his teammate, 400 slower in both sectors compared to Jakub Szymanski. But still, it's another very tidy lap so far. Once Toby Ward has come out and started his fast lap, we'll get on to James Leggett. Will be next in line. Love watching these cars swoop around these final corners here at Interlagos. That was Jakub Szymanski entering the pit lane. I think Craig's gone a little bit slower than his teammate there. And it's 133.5, just a couple of thousandths slower than Rob Lundgren. Very close between the two of them, 4 thousandths in between. Next up, Toby Ward, car 69 in the Minardi. I must say, I'm intrigued actually at the fact that everybody's had clean laps so far. Everybody's behaved themselves. Nobody's had any off tracks or any nonsense. They've all kept it nice and clean for the time being. And I believe that sound is us being joined by a Mr. Jack Johns, who has hopped in. Are you there,
Public
darling?
transport in Brazil is a nightmare, Chaz. Let's put it down to that.
How are you doing, my friend? Are you all good?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you, everyone who's here. And, of course, you, Chaz, and apologies for the delay. But I've made it. I would not miss these guys, especially after what happened last time out at Phillip Island. So here we are in Brazil, and I'm looking forward to whatever's going to happen with the Rio de Belta last time out.
Yeah, we really did. It was an absolute corker of an event, and it was plenty of fun. And I'm expecting more of the same this time round. Internet for some reason, and I'm hoping that does not affect this. We are losing a few frames here and there, so apologies for that. But the bitrate will come back to us.
The internet returns.
Oh god!
We're looking at whilst you have a play with that to sort out the bitrate, Chaz. We're looking at Toby Ward going round. He's setting some green sectors, so he's on some personal bests. The number 69 driver across the line, but there's nothing coming up on the timing screens. So I believe that he's won next his lap.
It's still dead, I think.
Still dead? Is it me that's dead?
No, and we're back, everybody. And we're back. The bitrate has returned. Magically, after asking Beth whether it was her doing something, and her saying no, it's now magically stopped. But sometimes, this is the thing. I must admit, it's not her fault. With the work she's doing late, sometimes when you get these documents and things that sync up to one another, whether it's over Google Drive, something like that, it often sort of uploads a version of a file or whatever you've worked on. We are still losing a bit of frame rate though, as things are going on. I really hope that sort of stabilises a bit. But we're watching James Leggett right now. Toby Ward's going to be fuming because he's done a purple sector 1 on his in lap. That's it's not the time to do it, is it, mate?
No, as you said, it's sorting itself out. But we're seeing this qualifying format is interesting, Chaz, because they all get in Phillip Island. We had this slipstreaming effect where, well, it was strong, wasn't it? At Phillip Island, they absolutely found loads of time behind each other, and this does sort of nullify that, but it does also absolutely put more. I mean, qualifying is a skill in itself anyway, but it does kind of put more focus on the drivers, focus on the circuit. They get one attempt at this. And honestly, it's a marvel to watch as we see this is Zwemstra coming down the back straight towards turn 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. I had that.
Left sweeper.
I had that issue earlier. I was like, is this turn 3? Is this turn 4? Apparently it is. James Leggett, by the way, went 1.2 seconds off Pete Newman. Kevin is one of the drivers we expect to be right up there near the top of the order. Apologies for the issue, by the way, there, everybody. Not a clue what caused that, but we are back to a wonderful, tasty 60 FPS. And a phrase that I remember Shifty saying to me a long time ago, delicious bitrate. It's one of my favourite phrases. He said it in the comments for I think it was the Chaslington Touring Car Championship, when my PC absolutely ate its own backside. But suddenly it was all fine.
Flavoursome bitrate.
Yeah, that's it. So Zemstra's just done a purple sector 4. So he's certainly on the money in certain places of the circuit. The wonderful Ferrari looking good. Another man that had a nightmare at Phillip Island. But this is the interesting thing, isn't it, Jack? As we have this early on in the season, we're going to see some of these quicker guys a little bit earlier on in the session than we would expect.
Yeah, there was different sort of strategies, and the time sort of tumbled in the half hour. Was it a half hour we had before, or was it an hour before?
Half hour.
It was half
Yeah,
hour.
it was half
And
hour.
we saw in that later phase of the half an hour, the times just dropped because it was effectively a practice session with them all out there for the solid half hour, and you could just see them constantly finding time. But this is really going to it's going to show the people that have put extra practice in throughout the week. Obviously, there's the practice session as well where some of them turn up to. But it's not even some people might have been practicing this since the last round.
Oh yeah.
And then under something like this, you're still going to get, for example, he's coming round this left-hander now, his Hedgecock, up this hill, into this tight right-hander coming up. Not this one, the one after. And the mistakes could put all of that work at bay, and they'll end up down the grid for the start of this race. He's gone a little bit wide there, missed the apex. Comes out to the left nicely, though. Holds it tight to this left-hander, does Adam. And then up the hill towards that tree up ahead. Into another tight right-hander. This is a nice corner, a real late apex, and a potential overtaking opportunity as long as they can get it right. Unlike Lewis on Alex Albon in the same corner. And then using all the track on here. There's no 1x there on the exit. You can go right out. You can probably actually get all four over that white line. You don't want to touch the concrete, though, the blue bit on the outside. That'll be the bit that gets rid of your lap. But here he goes up the hill, obviously flat out all the way through here. Does he cut it tight to the wall? Doesn't risk any damage there. And then across the line, where's this going to put Mr. Hedgecock? He has done a valid lap, and it whacks him in P5, 1.1 seconds off of pole position.
Not too bad that from Hedgecock. He's faster than Leggett, but Hasser-Raymer, to be honest, despite being the first car out, Hasser's put in an absolute belter of a lap time there. He's 4 tenths clear, give or take, of Adam Hedgecock, so it's an absolute beauty by Hasser, and he needs that after a horrible first round, barely making it 300 metres as mentioned. This is Khan Nguyen, the Vietnamese driver in the first of the 2 Jordans that we're going to see. He didn't do too badly, considering when we went to Phillip Island. Qualifying though was 22nd, but he improved in the race, but just missed out on the points. He was 13th at the end of the race. So he's going to be hoping to improve his qualifying position and hopefully in turn with that improve his race position here this evening. That looked a little bit deep though through the double right. He's gone way deep into the hairpin, but like you mentioned before, Jack, you can get away with that and tuck it to the left nice and quickly, can't you? It's not all about racing line there. It's all about just keeping the speed up wherever you are on the circuit.
That's it, yeah, keeping the speed up through that apex or that mid part of the track, as you said, which is where he ended up. But once they go down that hill, the interesting thing about that corner is if you have really overcooked that right-hander, the next left, you want to keep it tight to the white line all the way through anyway. So the only real effect it has, you're still on that line on the exit. So if you've gone deep, you're still holding it tight to that white line. But the only difference would be if you was around the middle of the circuit or the right-hand side, if you did nail the corner before, you can just carry that extra 5 to 10 kilometers an hour through the apex and up that hill, which can make all the difference on a track like this.
And it looks like Khan Nguyen is the first of our drivers not to put in a valid lap time, unfortunately. Looks like he has had an incident point somewhere along the way and his lap hasn't counted, so unfortunately Khan will be provisionally starting at the back of the field out of those that have qualified. We're now into, well, the top couple of drivers now actually. We only have 8 more to go. Now we don't have Tim Perry, we don't have Craig Evans, we don't have Brian Crowells. All 3 of those guys were right together in the championship. We've gone past where Ed May would have been. So this is Martin Kenyon, who finished 11th at Phillip Island, but we lose 3 of the drivers that would have come out after him. He did a great job in this Lola, considering, you know, Martin won't be too upset with me pointing out he was bottom of every pre-season test, but Martin has continued to push and push and push. He's been so persistent, and he's really wanted to learn this car. He's mainly from an oval racing background here on iRacing, but he's doing a fantastic job of it so far this season. We'll see roughly where he puts himself here. Nice little twitch on the way into the left-hander there, wasn't it?
Look great when they do that, don't they?
Yeah.
That little wiggle. You just think we saw a few people obviously losing this car. It can get away from you under that acceleration, but it looks great when it doesn't, because you can tell they're pushing. It's really good.
Now Khan's time, obviously, on his in-lap was much slower. That puts him at the bottom of the field. Martin Kenyon goes up to 6th place, though. Faster than his teammate James Leggett. 1.185 seconds off the top spot. That's a really good time, to be fair. Really, really good time by Martin Kenyon in the Lola. Well done, Sunshine. He'll be really chuffed with that. 6th place ahead of Butler, Schmansky, Lundgren, Shilward, and Khan Newen as well. John Tusting, though, has taken his sweet time here, by the look of it, with with his outlap.
I think I heard coming through the radio. There was just a bit of delay getting out the pits, but he's made it. He'll make it in time. It's all been fairly smooth, which is good.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely working out this way round. But yeah, John's coming round into the final section now.
Yes,
we'll get his lap underway shortly.
And we love this Minardi as well. One of the best looking cars ever in Formula 1, if you ask me. John keeps it nice and tidy. Even the fact that they're doing 60 to 65 mile an hour through that left-hander. You think about driving your road car at 60 miles an hour and think about throwing it around a corner like that. You just think, no, it's not possible. But it's incredible. Shows you just how capable racing cars are in comparison to our road-going cars. Topping out at 134 here. We've got to remember that. It'll be interesting to see what they top out at in the slipstream. John keeps it nice and tidy. Now the curbs here, Jack, they're very, very scary, aren't they, with their size? But you can use quite a lot of them. It's just you need to be really careful over the bumpier ones, because there are some here that are nice and level, but there's some that aren't.
Yeah, and I didn't realise actually that with the way he turned into turn 1 there seems to be a lot of understeer through that first turn with how much speed they're carrying through there, and that's definitely that corner is similar to how we were saying you really have to set this right-hander up that he's coming up to. You really have to nail the line through turns 1, 2, and 3. If you can get that car pointed in the right place on the exit of 1, then absolutely 2 and 3 should be relatively flat. All the way down towards turn 4, and that's what you really want. And you really have to, like you said, you really have to attack the curb for that. But with the raised bit, as you can see, they're all at this angle. They've all got this little raised edge. If you hit that wrong, I can imagine that's going to unsettle the balance of the car. If you get your foot down slightly too early at the wrong point, especially on a raised section, then I imagine the car's it's not going to be easy to save. That's for sure.
No, definitely not. These cars really aren't easy to save at all. They snap very quickly, as open wheel cars often do. Now John really tucks the car into the left hand side there. Considering how easily these things top out, he's not really going to wash off too much speed. Looks like he was surprised by the end of the pit wall there. 31.604 to beat, and he does a 33.5. That puts him 12th behind Schill and just ahead of his teammate Toby Ward. So John, despite his delay, might not be completely over the moon with that one, but we've still got a number of cars left to go. And the next one of them is going to be a Ferrari. Jack Stiles coming across the line. Very grateful for Jack doing one of his wonderful track guides again. But he was an interesting one at Phillip Island, wasn't he? He was always stuck to his teammate Kevin Zemstra, who's currently 2nd fastest. What do you think Jack's got in store for us here?
Yeah, it definitely, the Ferraris had an interesting race, like you said. That in qualifying they were absolutely nose to tail. But he wasn't a slouch. So let's see where he can put himself up to. I think another quick shout out to Roma, who's still in 4th place, is Hasser. Newman obviously can't on pole 1/10 between Zemstra and himself, so Zemstra almost got that Ferrari up on the front of the grid. But we've got a purple sector 1 from Jack Stiles. It's showing up on the timing screens. It's 23.6 for me. Holding up in the mid-sector, keeps it nice and tight to that curve. That looked very tidy through there. Doesn't matter that he's slightly off the white line here. That's fine. He carried the speed through nicely. Uses all the curve on the exit. Up the hill, past the tree, into the braking zone. A nice wide entry over that curve as well. Got nice and early on the power. This is looking good. It's looking tidy. Holds it tight to this left. Flat out, no lift. Over the white line. Keeps his 2 left ones on the track. Does he hit that curve? Yes.
This looks fast.
It does look fast. It really does. Very smooth through that middle sector, and that could be where a big time gain was made. Here he comes, though, coming up through the hill, holds it tight to the left, crosses the pit lane line. No risk with that wall. Got the bit of tyres sticking out there. A across the line. Where's he going to put in? 1:31.6, and he goes third fastest.
Love it.
It was a quick time. Still 6 steps down, but jumps up ahead of Hoffman in the Williams Renault to take P3 at the moment. That is a Ferrari in second and third.
Great stuff, that. Absolutely great stuff. Crazy to think that there's half a second between second and third, though. Now, this is one of the most exciting drivers to see. Jake Blackhall, the Australian, pushing very, very hard in those opening few corners. You could see with just how much the car understeered through the second bit, the speed that he was carrying. And Jake is surely going to be the man to try and beat this evening. He was fastest in practice, and he was easily one of the fastest out there at Phillip Island. He was fastest in pre-season testing as well. I think he finished second in the first test and then first in the other two. This man is an absolute rocket ship, but I've not known many drivers as unlucky as Jake. Really pushes the limits over the curb there into the right hairpin. Really almost on the grass on the inside there, but this looks very, very pushy from Jake. This could either go badly wrong or it's going to be an absolute belter. 2 purple sectors so far.
He's lighting up the screen, and then Chaz, he's got to keep it going. 2 purple sectors, as you said, and now he's coming into this final sector, which is relatively stress-free, apart from this final corner. Look at that, there you go. All of the exit line, past the white line, bit of curve on the exit, so he's carried the speed nicely. This is looking very fast. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I'm blaming public transport again. I missed the first few drivers, but that was the widest entry I've seen so far into that final corner. And is it going to pay off? Because you can gain so much time. Here he goes across the line. It was a purple final sector, and he goes straight up to the top of the times with the 1:31.3, 2.5 tenths faster than Newman.
Fantastic stuff by Jake Blackhall. Absolutely fantastic, and that's what we expected. Quarter of a second advantage goes his way, and next up is one of the prettiest cars on the grid, the ones that everybody loves, the Jordan of Ben Gregory. His teammate is currently bottom of the times after not putting in a valid lap. Ben needs to try and salvage some of that. Back at Phillip Island, Ben qualified in 15th place, you know. We did actually talk about the fact the Jordans were further down the order than we were expecting them to be, based on pre-season testing, but right now, they're not really redeeming themselves. No purple sectors yet from Ben, but still, it looks quite tidy. It looks fast through that first sector. It's always a scary couple of corners because, as we mentioned, these cars can step out so much and so quickly. So some of these guys may be just taking a bit of care at this early stage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not luck of the draw. They're all flying through. Some people have made small mistakes. Some people, I think, was there one person who's invalidated the lap time, but I can't imagine being in this situation. And I imagine it's got to be quite fun being in this little stressful situation. And I think the best thing, look at the amount of curve he used on the exit there, Ben Gregory. That was a last lap, last corner dash of the time that was. But I've completely lost my train of thought seeing him go over that curve. I've forgotten what I was saying. That was fantastic. Where's that going to put him, though? Number 99 slots up into P7.
Not bad at all, actually, for Ben Gregory, considering that mistake as well. Just over a second off. But yeah, like you were saying...
Camera time. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
They all get a nice shot of camera time. And the full limelight is on them during their lap. Sorry to interrupt there, Chaz. It just popped back.
It's all good, mate. We're into our final 3 cars now. 2 McLarens first up. Christian Rose, third in the championship after a brilliant and very consistent drive at Phillip Island. I watched the broadcast back, you know, and with like 3 laps left, I think Shifty was 7th and ended up finishing on the podium. It's pretty bonkers. And the guys in the chat are discussing how they feel as well. John was saying it's super hard out there, so scared to put a wheel off. I was at least a second off my usual pace. Jakub Szymanski says he's shaking badly. So we've got these guys quaking in their boots, but that's the thing. It puts the pressure on and it makes it all that more exciting because you do get the odd driver that will put a wheel off the road and they won't get a good time in. Christian Rose really chucking it in there. Using a tiny bit of the grass as well, copying the Jake Blackhall line. God, that McLaren looks good round there. Really love that. But this is great stuff. And Martin Kenyon saying he's really chuffed with his time, and so you should be, mate. That's an absolute corker. Still up there in 9th place. Christian Rose, no purple sectors yet, though. And that surprises me. See how he goes into the final couple of corners. That looked nice. That looked quick through there. He doesn't use too much curb, because if you do go over it a little bit too much, there's a rise in the middle of it. Pushes the car out wide. Let's see what he can do. All the curb on the inside there as well. That looks nice and tidy through there. Keeps it hugged over to the left. 31.3 to beat. It's not going to be that far off, I don't think. Christian Rose registers a 31.6, goes second fastest by 0.02 of a second over Pete Newman. So once again, even without the slipstreaming effect here in qualifying, these guys are mighty close to one another.
Yeah, and we saw it in the pre. Obviously, there was still a bit of slipstreaming in the pre-season events, but we saw how close these guys can get, and now it's showing, as we can see. Silas, here he is in the McLaren, a lovely looking car, like you said, but here he goes down towards turn 4. It looks like he's carried a fair amount of speed through 1, 2, and 3. Chucks it into this left-hander, uses the curb. Does he go too wide on the exit? Not really. The invalidation on the exit of that curve is stingy at best. But it looks like he's done it well. And he sets a purple sector 2. So this is looking quick so far. That was a 13.05 in that sector. Looking half a... I don't know if that's my eyes, but it's looking at like half a second up on some of the previous sector 2s. Or is that their in-lap?
Yeah, it's counting their in-lap. So... It's that's one of the only things that I wish I could change. Although I think you can get it to show best sectors. It's just to then remember to change that to the race is a bit.
Of course.
I think in future we can change it. He's another purple sector as he goes into the final couple of corners here. Jack, he could do this. Car looks a little bit sideways though. Oh, Silas!
He went. Here we go. That'll still count. I don't think that was a 1x on the exit of that curve. You can go quite wide. I mean, you get a bit bumpy and you lose a tiny bit of speed, but with 2 purple sectors, this could still be it. He's climbing up. He's holding it tight to the wall. He's not going to hit that tyre wall, although he gets pretty close. Now he's going to run it tight. Shortest line to the finish line. Crosses it. And where is he going to jump up to? Second place. 1/10 away from Blackhall. Silas taking it to P2. That's 2 McLarens now up there. The Ferraris dropping to 5th and 6th after Newman. Christian, Silas, Jake going ahead.
And here comes your championship leader then. Cam Dance put it on pole at Phillip Island and went and won the race by 0 thousandths of a second in the initial timing. It was 14 thousandths after that, but still, that's not very big of a gap, is it? Let's face it. The final car to come out here and qualify at Interlagos, and I must say a massive thank you to the drivers and Jakub Szymanski in particular for making sure this was all choreographed correctly and everybody's done their job, gone out at the right time. Really, really pleased that this has worked out and they've made it look fantastic. And we appreciate their patience as well for the fact that they've had to wait and wait and wait for all the other cars to complete their times. But Cam Dance, no purple sectors as of yet. So I'm going to be intrigued to see how quick he can go. Again, look, they're just nearly clipping the grass on the inside of that right-hander as they get towards it there. Swings it all the way around this long left, keeps it nice and tidy, uses all of the curb on the exit. But this looks fast, but no purple sectors. That surprises me.
Yeah, no purples as of yet. But yeah, it does look tidy and it looks pushy. One thing I didn't clock actually was something like this. Like you said, some of the drivers doesn't actually use all the track there either on the exit. This is looking, without being offensive, it's looking slouchy from Cam Dance, but he's got the race pace, so it might not be all over. Let's see how close he can get. I was going to say, one thing I didn't notice is all the drivers can watch each other's laps, of course, whilst they're waiting. People might pick up some tips and tricks as they see them flying around. That was close to that wall, was it? Jesus. Where's he going to jump him up to? It goes P5, 3 temps. Only 3 temps down, so it wasn't too bad of a time. And like you said, no purples and a P5 for Cam Dance, your championship leader.
Yeah, indeed. Big upset there, really. I expected Cam to go top, but it's going to be Jake Blackhall that takes the top time. Fantastic stuff from Jake. He can be really, really pleased with that one. We'll have a quick look at some of the times right now. But wow, that was very impressive indeed. Now what we need to do is quickly advance the session so that qualifying is considered as over, and then that will basically give us the results. So if you all patiently wait with me, you are going to see the UI come up here, and then we're going to give it a quick advance. There you go. And that's going to basically take us to warm-up, which will be the next one on the roster. But wow, I'm sweating. I mean, it wasn't as chaotic as qualifying at Phillip Island, Jack, but still, that was mighty exciting stuff.
Yeah, man, that was quite good. That format definitely works. They've all done what they needed to do, and it really builds up tension towards the end there. Seeing sort of who can get who can get where. Hasaroma first out there in the Tyrrell Ford, still P9 on the grid, so he's had a cracking qualifying up there. Williams on pole, followed by the 2x2 of the McLarens, Benetton Renaults, and the Ferraris there, with Ben Hoffman 8 tenths down, ruining the Noah's Ark of the grid there in P8. You got Hasaroma, like we said, P9, Ben Gregory in the Jordan takes P10.
The main thing to note there is the fact that Kevin Zemstra and Jack Stiles, there's half a second from 6th to 7th, and everybody else is really close. But there's another half a second from Jakub Szymanski back to Rob Lundgren. So there's these sort of 3 packs of cars. There are even more of them as well a little bit further down, as we just show you the rest of them. Khan Newen obviously invalidated his lap time. Everybody's going out in warm-up now, though, just to get used to how the circuit is, but that is incredible stuff from Jake Blackhall. Silas, you have to say, probably lost his lap time in that final corner, didn't he? Because Ben Gregory's come in the chat on the YouTube and said he lost half a tenth at least. I think we'd probably be talking thousandths between Jake and Silas if he hadn't have hit that curb.
Yeah, he went. We saw him bounce over it. It was quite a hefty hit as well. I mean, I'll be honest. I haven't driven this track in this car. At first, I was thinking that wasn't as much of a tenth, but then remembering how low these are to the ground and how sensitive they could be, like you said, I think that would have been really close. But he's there. He's on the front row. He's ready to pounce. As soon as those lights are out, he can get a better start. He might even be leading into turn 1. But of course, that's only half the job. He's then got to lead for the rest of the race. And we know how strong Slipstream can be.
And you mentioned the Noah's Ark as well. Bear in mind, the top 8 is the top 4 teams. We've got the 2 Williams, the 2 McLarens, 2 Benettons, and 2 Ferraris in there. So Hasaroma, being the first car out, has actually gone best of the rest there ahead of Ben Gregory. So what a great job. Good to see the Lolas as well, 12th and 13th. Those guys were bottom of pre-season testing, but they have managed to pull it together, and they have done some really, really strong work there. Feel a bit gutted for Khan Newen, though, to be honest with you. Khan will be pretty disappointed with that after just a tiny touch of the curb. I'm not even sure where he might have invalidated it. I'm thinking maybe just before the first of the 2 hairpins. He's overdone it slightly, but that was surely on the limit of invalidating it. We'll go on board with him, actually. You'll see as we go up here through the double right. Never mind. There's a curb on the left there. I think he just went over that. You know, it looked like he went really wide there, but still. Fantastic stuff from everybody else. I must say that, you know, it was really nicely choreographed. Thank you especially to this man, Jakub Szymanski. He has been so helpful with the series and everything about it. His internet's not, but he's really been helpful about all of this, and he choreographed all of those guys there and got them all together. So 10 minutes of warm-up. I was thinking we could potentially interview somebody, but I don't really want to get them out of their rhythm. I should have actually mentioned beforehand that it'd be nice to interview a couple of the guys, but oh well. But Hasaroma's impressed.
Interesting, a driven interview lap.
Oh yeah,
might have to mention that to the boys next time, if not today. But yeah, see how they're chatting whilst they're fighting out in this little warm-up. Go on, Chaz. I interrupted you again. We've got a few of them having a little practice race by the looks of it.
Yeah, indeed. I was just going to say, you know, Hasa really impressed me in that qualifying session. Being the first car out and not having anyone else's laps to really reference from qualifying is so tough. But the fact that he went out there in the Tyrrell after the absolute torrid time that he had at Phillip Island, and he went and put it 9th fastest. Fair play to the lad. That's a great performance. And I really hope that he's been practicing his starts and doesn't have a nightmare this time round.
Yeah, he's going to be looking to well, it's only up from where he was, right? So he's going to be looking to improve for sure. The starts are, with so many of these cars on the grid, good-looking cars as well. It's you got to be so wary at what everyone else is doing. If a car in front of you gets a dodgy start, whether it's wheel spin or if they start sliding, you're still in your starting phase by the time you get to that car. So it's quite hard to avoid without actually spinning yourself, as we see one of the Stewarts off in the background there.
And we've actually been joined by one of our drivers who's very generously offered to have a chat with us. Mr. Hedgecock, now, no warm-up for you at the moment. Is that just because you're in an interview? Oh, there's a spin. Is that just because you're in an interview, or are you just knackered from waiting all that time?
No, I have a little bit of a pre-race ritual. I always go for a safety pee before I race. So I heard in the background that you wanted an interview, so I thought, you know what, I'll nip in here on the way back to the car.
I was going to say, I wondered if If you wait, you're going to wee in the car?
I mean, that's what Jenson Button did for Alonso's car, wasn't it?
It was indeed, yeah. How's the car around this circuit, mate? Because we know it's a challenging track. We know that the car likes a four-wheel slide every so often. It can't be easy out there.
The first lap is quite tough because you've got all of that downforce and no mechanical grip. It's a little bit awkward, but after that, it's actually really nice. It's this track can be really hard to drive sometimes, but in this car, it's pretty fun. It's like really flowy. It's it's really good. I like it.
And what are your thoughts for the race? Obviously, qualifying wasn't the easiest when you're all out there on your own, but it certainly shows that things are still nice and close. Are you expecting an easy start or a very timid one?
The first couple of corners here can be carnage. We've seen it time and time again, haven't we? So, yeah, just keeping the nose clean the first few corners, and then try and not lose the pack, really. That's the main goal. A lot of draft here. Even if you're not that quick through the corners, you can generally stay with the cars in front. If you get good exits, you can still keep up with them in the draft. So, yeah, just looking to do that, really.
Well, we hope it goes well for you, Adam. Thank you very much for joining us. You've got your good old teammate Ed May watching tonight as well. He's saying, go on, Hedge, carry the torch for Sauber, and of course we hope you do the same as well. But for now, mate, good luck, and we'll catch you later on.
Yep, cheers, Chaz. Cheers, Jack.
Thank you.
There we go then, Adam Hedgecock, one of very many friends that I've made through sim racing, and he's, at the moment, just taking part in his ritual. We've got cars off the road somewhere. Somebody just had a big old crash, and I think it might have been Ben Hoffman, We'll have a quick look back and see what happened here. He's going through to... Oh!
That was a Lola in front of him, and then...
Oh! Another one as well.
It's still going as a Jordan joined him.
Oh, heck. Let's have a look at... See who is the culprit. Let's slow it down. What number's on the side? 66, James Leggett. It's like a bingo call-out. And then the Jordan behind, I think, was Carn Newen, actually. So he's not having the best of days, is he, Carn? He ends up in the wall in warm-up. Bless him. But still...
There was a couple people I noticed, just as you were chatting to Adam there. There was two cars racing into the pit lane during this, which is actually, as silly as it may look, that is a great thing to be practicing at this time. Especially with pit stops in this race. They might be pitting with someone else, and at the same time, they also need to. I thought John Tustin was going to practice it then, but he's practicing a dummy move there. Let's keep an eye out for that in the race. I wonder if he's going to try and pit and then last minute swerve. We call that the thing, when you last minute swerve and someone follows you into the wall. That's what that move is called. He did the thing.
Do the thing.
He did the thing.
It's like do the roar.
But, oh yeah, it's the pit lane entry absolutely needs to be practiced because that's a fast entry as well. So you need to pick a braking zone wisely.
Yeah, you really do. You need to be so careful because you are flat out on the way in. It can really catch you out. These are the two gorgeous Minardis together. It's great to see the two cars side by side as well. And you can see the different driver helmets as well. John Tusting running a Jarno Trulli lid. Toby Ward in this nice green helmet design that he's got. Very bold, and you can tell it apart. Good to see the two Arrows having an all-right session in qualifying. Morgan Butler and Rob Lundgren have both had a bit of a tough time in the opening rounds, but... Well, the opening round, we've only had one. But you know what I mean. It's certainly an eye-opener in the first round of the championship. You don't want to be on the back foot coming into any other round, no matter how early or how late in the championship.
I'm trying to remember, Chaz. Obviously, it was a little while ago now, but Morgan Butler there, just saw him pulling into the pits in the Arrows. He didn't have a good round, did he? Didn't have a good first round. He's going to be one of those people looking to definitely improve. He's currently shown as 14th on the timing screens in this. What can we expect from him today?
Well, he qualified 10th at Phillip Island, but he had a DNF after the incident with Ben Hoffman on the first lap. Ben just went a little bit deep on the brakes, hit Zemstra, and then both of the Arrows with it as well. Something that's worth noting as well is the fact that the fuel limit has been upped to 50% in this. So the setup starts with 25%. So they will not be able to get to the end of the race. But if drivers do have an incident early on and they have a crash or whatever they need to repair, then in that pit stop where they take said fast repair, they can put in enough fuel to get to the end. So they will make it. So that's definitely something to watch out for here, as it could shake it up. But it's time. I'm very excited. Over the top excited. So much so I'm clicking the wrong buttons. Jake Blackhall takes pole position then. He'll be alongside Silas Crag-Frolic with Christian Rose and Pete Newman on row 2. We then have Cam Dance and Kevin Zemstra on row 3, Jack Stiles and Ben Hoffman on row 4. Then it's Hasse Raymer and Ben Gregory with Adam Hedgecock and Martin Kenyon on row 6. James Leggett is 13th ahead of Morgan Butler. Then it's Jakub Szymanski and Rob Lundgren on row 8. Craig Schill is 17th with John Tusting for company. And Toby Ward and Carn Newen make up the back of our 20-car grid for today. So, picks, Jack? Any picks?
Oh, this is tough. Do you know what? This is completely there's no statistics for this whatsoever. I'm looking at. I want to see a Ferrari up there today, and I think I'm going to go for Kevin Zwemstra in the number 88. Let's see what happens as the 3 lights come on, 4 lights, 5 lights, and away they go. They're all going to come. Look at this. I love this shot when they all disperse and start weaving around with 3, 4, 5 wide as they head down towards turn 1. But Jake Blackhall with an absolutely blinding start as he leads into turn 1 with no threat whatsoever. They're going to go 3 wide here in the mid-pack, and there's a spinner there. That is Hasse Raymer in the Tyrrell Ford. He's had a cracking qualifying, but the important thing here is alive, and there is my pick. The commentator's curse, alive and well. Kevin Zwemstra tumbling down the order after picking in, but it's not over yet. There's 24 laps of this race, Chaz, and away they go. Jake Black, we spun! Your leader spins by himself! I can't believe I just seen.
I cannot.
The two Benettons are in the lead. The 2 Benettons, 6:58. That's Newman and Dance. They're 1 and 2, and they haven't even finished lap 1 yet. Wow.
Unbelievable scenes. That was literally, these are the pair that were leading the race at Phillip Island at the very start as well. We had a spin for Hasse Raymer. Oh, that's a big twitch there for Pete Newman. Ben Hoffman's gone down the order as well, and Kevin Zemstra. Rob Lundgren is off the road now. Oh, God, it's already happening. Now, side by side here between Silas Crag-Frolic and Jack Stiles. Jack's down the inside, coming into the last sector here. But look at this, top 6 already. One big group as Jack's gone deep on the brakes, nearly into the back of Shifty. Wow, that was close. Morgan Butler's gained 7 places in this opening lap. John Susting's gained 8. It's unbelievable. Oh, James Leggett's off in the Lola. There's damage on the front of his car. Oh, another car off joining him. That's Rob Lundgren. Lundgren comes through the shot as well. They both wait for each other to get back on, but Pete Newman, look at this lot. Pete Newman leads the way. Cam Dance and Christian Rose just behind him. These guys were fighting for it at Phillip Island as well. Silas Crag-Frolic down the inside of Stiles.
Keep an eye on Gregory here, Chaz. He's looking feisty and looking to pass that McLaren. He was well in the slipstream on that main straight. And now, actually, the McLaren up ahead is actually getting a slipstream from Stiles now. So is he going to look to the inside of turn 4? It's a fast left-hander. It's not really a heavy braking zone to pull the pass, but his nose is already there. So the move is half started. And he does brake later than the Ferrari. I think Jack played that conservatively. And the McLaren goes wide, goes deep. We've seen that line before in F1, but this time, Jack Stiles slots in behind. He's got 22 laps to absolutely make more of this. Have I picked the wrong Ferrari? Can we see Zwemstra climb his way back up? I'm sure we can, because he had something similar at Phillip Island. But here is Silas in P4, chasing down the Benetton of Cam Dance, who's now in P3, as Christian Rose in the McLaren is P2, chasing down the Benetton of Pete Newman. It's Benetton versus McLaren at the moment at the top.
It really is. Fantastic stuff, but we need to go back and have a look at exactly what happened at the start with Hasse Raymer, because Hasse and Rob have both, well, Rob Lundgren has had a nightmare as well. This is Hasse's start. Nice and tidy this time, doesn't light it up. Gets a good run, actually, as soon as he goes up the gears there. That's Ben Hoffman on his left-hand side. I'm wondering if there was any contact between the two. Hasse went off very early on here. Oh, he's just done it himself. And then Hoffman went off. Oh, Zemstra's off there. Zemstra got caught by Gregory, I think. And then Hoffman dropped down the order as well at some point over this lap. I'm not quite sure where. But you can see everybody filtering out in the background there. See what happened to Hoffman. I can't believe Blackhall did that on his own as well. Jake's done it. And, oh, Ben's done the same thing.
Same place.
Must be the setup
Big
on the Williams.
On turning. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it is. It looks like that was potentially Oh, I was just about to say it was interesting doing this after qualifying because they all had one lap, but they were. Let's not forget they all had an out lap to warm up their tyres. This will be absolutely chucking it into turn 4 and turn 1 in Haas's case with cold tyres and the rear end just going. That was curb for Zwemstra there. Absolutely attacked the turn 2 curb on cold tyres. As we go back live and we see a little bit of a reshuffling over here, we've got Pete Newman's leading the way in the Benetton, but the 2 McLarens now 2nd and 3rd, so Silas has passed Countdance. And then Styles still in P5 with Gregory on his tail. But yeah, the 2 McLarens up the front. Jake Blackhall is currently down here in P8. We know he's quick, and that looks like a very, very wide Morgan Butler in the arrow. He's in a good place in P7. He's about to lose it. I think he's letting Jake go.
Yeah.
He's now going to tuck him behind, I imagine, get some slipstream, and use Jake's pace really to his advantage to try and catch, although he's not doing it straight away. And we see another car off. It's the Stuart Ford of Craig Shield down in P17, and some cars are going to come flying through.
Yeah, he's got a bit of damage as well on that front right, hasn't he, as Craig, unfortunately. Hasser has been in the pits, by the way. I'm not sure if he picked up some damage in the opening lap. Now there was an issue. Craig Schill, Martin Kenyon and Hasser Raymer have all had a bit of a problem here. So let's have a look how this all panned out. Oh, Craig's gone into the back of Martin, and then, Hasser gets involved in it. Did he catch Ben Hoffman in that? I'm not sure he did, but that was all a bit of a mess further down, and Hasser's difficult season goes from bad to worse. Craig Schill sits there in the pits, but we were looking a moment ago at Jake Blackhall having a fight. John Tusting has got Jakub Szymanski right behind him for the final points scoring places, but Kevin Zemstra is in 10th position, so he's made a few places since that issue at the start. But to be honest, we're already on lap 4 here, and time is going to disappear very quickly. Rob Lundgren has had a problem again. Oh, Rob's having a tough time, isn't he?
He's having a tough time today indeed in the Arrows car. And as you said, Zwemstra's back up to P10 already, and the bonus was I don't think he actually collected any damage and he didn't have to pit, so he is currently still, he's only 7 seconds off the lead on the lead lap with no pit stop, so he's on the same strategy as them. We've seen Hasser come in, and look at this. This is a move for the lead. Down the inside, the number 12 goes. Christian Rose gets it done. Is it done yet, though? They're still side by side through turn 2, but he's going to have the inside for turn 3. Christian Rose trying to take the lead in the McLaren, but the Benetton really holding on of Pete Newman. He's going to hold it out to the left-hand side, and look at the slipstream of Silas. Are they going to make it 3 wide into turn 4? Silas has got the inside. This is teamwork at its finest. That's Christian Rose opening up the door for him. But then the Benetton's going to swoop round the outside and keep P2, and the other Benetton's going to come through and probably take P3 if he can get the slipstream right on the exit. The number 6 car, that is, of Cam Dance. But is he still there? He's on the inside of the fast right. And the McLaren number 12, Christian Rose, goes down to 4th place. And now look at Styles. Styles is going to lunge up the inside, is he? Or is the McLaren going to hold it around the outside? He's going to try. He's got the inside line once again, and Styles tucks in. Nice little battle there for the lead.
And behind all this, Jake Blackhall and Morgan Butler have caught up to it as well. Jake did the fastest lap of the race last time round. He has got all of this going on in front of him. Hats off to Ben Gregory as well. He's been really patient so far, and he could potentially save a bit of fuel here, but the trade-off for saving fuel is that if you do want to go that extra lap longer than everybody else, then you don't get the slipstream for a lap where everybody else has still had it before you. So let's see how these guys play it out. Jake Blackhall's looking one way, then the other around Ben. He's going to get some good slipstream here. He wants to be right up there in that fight. Let's not forget Christian Rose, Jake Blackhall, Pete Newman. They're all teammates at Pure Sims, so these guys know each other very well. They'll probably all be racing together in the same Discord channel at the same time. And Jake tries to go as late as he can on the brakes. Pete Newman and Cam Dance are still 2nd and 3rd in that order. Jake's down the inside. That could have been a very scary moment. Hats off to Morgan Butler, by the way. 6 places gained inside the top 8 now. He's loving this.
That was a weird overtake from Blackhall there. I actually think I feel like he lifted on the straight to let the Jordan keep it of Ben Gregory, but then their braking zones were so different. He ended up actually, I mean, this is just from my point of view, but it looked like he accidentally tried that overtake to get his car there. I don't know if he was actually committed to that. I think he wanted to wait another lap, to be honest. But I'm sure we'll see it again. This is Toby Ward in the Minardi, chasing down Ben Hoffman in the Williams Renault for P13. Coming through that mid-sector now and looking ever closer is Toby.
looking
that
nice and
main
tidy.
overtaking zone though is going to be the main straight, isn't it? And I love how close this lot are at the top end. It really makes for interesting fighting and strategy calls as well. I don't know what the fuel situation is like, Chaz, on laps. When can we expect these guys to come in the pits?
I don't know, Jack. At the end of the day, the cars can usually do about 2/3 of race distance, so probably about lap 18 they could probably get to before they needed to actually desperately come in. But actually, no, wait, that's not a third, is it? Yeah, it is. No, that's 3/4. As whoa, Styles and Gregory having a big old ding dong there, one way then the other. Gregory's going to be around the outside for turn 1. He's not going to get that done at turn 2, is he? Although he runs wide into Jack. Jack used to be Ben's team manager at Fitzdie. Ben now racing elsewhere, but wow, that was a scary moment. Jake Blackall benefits from it, gets some good slipstream as well. This is going to leave the guys at the front, the top 4, to get away, and it's Williams versus Ferrari, as it was very often in 1997. Jake Blackall down the inside of Jack Styles, and he makes it stick for now, but this has suddenly become 2 packs, Jack, and that's not what they want.
2 moves, 2 overtakes done in 1 sector though there for Blackwell. Very much created by Jack Styles' stern defence on that straight from the Jordan. It was a late move. I'm pretty sure Blackwell can catch that top train, but the Ferrari and the Jordan really want to stay in there. And Morgan's obviously sitting back there nice and quietly. He's just waiting for something to happen. And I think with the battles as they are, he's not it's not going to be wrong in something happening soon. But at the same time, it's not always the best thing, because you've got to hope that both of those cars clear out your way if something does happen up ahead. Otherwise, you could be involved in their little incident. As we see, is that someone dropping down the order?
Ben Hoffman. Ben's just had a bit of a moment here towards the end of the lap. He's got Jakub Szymanski, Toby Ward, and the other Minardi of John Tusting with him. Ben's having a real old fight with these guys. He's got some great company, but certainly it's all kicking off. But look at that. Down the inside he goes. That is Toby Ward.
Teamwork, look, stream.
Yeah.
It's just only, of course, he's going to give slipstream to the other Minardi. That's nice, but look at the speed. The Williams still has going down the straight.
John had damage, I think. John had damage, and he's come into the pits. I think the car wasn't behaving itself. Jakub Szymanski's come in as well. I think there's been some sort of issue with these boys here. Let's have a look at what went on. So it was a bit after this, so bear with us. John's not got any damage on the car at this point. But look how much Ben and Toby would have closed up in the middle sector. So this is the fight going into turn 4. Nice and tidy so far. I imagine it's a little bit later on. Morgan Butler's had an issue, I'm afraid, mate, and he's dropped down. We'll come back to that in a sec. We need to stick with this now. We've committed to it. Toby, oh, sorry, not Toby. John, very close. Oh, Jakub's gone a bit wide. Oh, very wide. Comes back on. John's down the inside. Then to the outside he goes. Still no shenanigans. I think it'll all happen here at this next corner, you know. Let's have a look. Jakub's out of shape. Oh, John's gone into him. Yeah, and it all clatters together. All clatters together.
Car spins. And then this is Morgan Butler then. So this is onto the back straight. I wonder.
Ah.
Here he goes.
Oh,
it's a touch with Gregory.
Oh, it was all unnecessary. All very unnecessary. Morgan's come over to the right.
Yeah.
He hasn't left
the car. Tried squeezing on the entry, and then that was always going to happen on the exit.
That's a real shame, that, because both of those guys were in with a fantastic result. I mean, it's not over yet, but it just means they've had an earlier pit stop and a slower in-lap for it. But look, this lot's still scrapping away at the front. There's a Benetton behind that McLaren, I promise you. And it is Cam Dance. But Silas, Craig Frolic, still holding on. Silas has been fantastic so far this season. A little bit argy-bargy for people's liking at Phillip Island. But what great racing. Look how close Pete Newman was there. Millimetre perfect.
He's pulled out. He's on the inside. He's on. This is a done deal. They're going to keep swapping positions like this at this rate every lap. And it's great to see the two teams going at it as well. Obviously with the underdogs back there. And I'll tell you, speaking of underdogs, the more that these lot fight 2 and 3 wide on every lap, that is Kevin Zwemstra 5 seconds back in P7. Who you can just about see them all up the road there as he enters this top right. But his first up on the list is Jack Styles, his teammate. I wonder how much team play goes on in the Discord. Not sure. This is Nguyen. He's currently in P14. Has he had a crash down here? He's by himself.
Apologies, he did just have a moment. He's got his teammate behind him. He's just got a little bit too hot into there, I think, and the car is going to over-rotate through turn 4. Ben Gregory does some Red Arrows style close avoidance, and now look, pit stops. Pit stops for these boys. Pete Newman in, Christian Rose and Jake Blackhall, funnily enough, all the Pure Sims boys. So maybe they are working together despite being in different teams in this championship. That'd be interesting. But Silas is going to drag Cam Dance and Jack Styles, who were both also teammates at Fitzdie, around for another lap. So one of each car has come in from each team. By the way, Hedgecock now up into 5th. He's had a very under-the-radar performance, but he's having a mega drive so far as Adam. He's gained 6 spots, and he's just sort of following Zemstra in the distance.
I wonder if those 3 have clocked how much time they were losing battling around to the people behind, because that's gonna now split that train of 6 fighting into 2 trains of 3, and like you said, 2 trains of 3 that know each other outside of the Formula 1 Championship. These 3 are probably now going to sit in line, I imagine, and slipstream their way cleanly to try and break away from the other 3 when they make their pit stops, I imagine.
It's interesting that they've made the stops so early as well, because now I could be a real idiot here. Well, not an idiot. I could be really mean here. I need to look at... Okay, so, yeah, the drivers are permitted to make their stop anytime after the first 8 laps. It used to be 10 laps, but then when we realised that some of the circuits were only having, like, 9 or 10 laps, yeah, we figured we couldn't make them wait that long. So it's after the first 8 laps that they will have to pit.
There's your top 2 coming in. Just Dance stayed out by himself in the Benetton Renault. So Silas and Jack coming in. I think Kevin's going to stay out as well. The gap down to 5.7 as he crosses the line from Dance. I think he's going to want to come in sooner than later, to be honest, with the groups as they are. Are they the 2? Did you say those 2 know each other as well, Silas and Jack, or was it Dance involved
in that? It's Dance and Jack. So Jack is the manager of Fitzdie, and Cam races for him. And here they are, look, there they are coming out of the pit lane. Nope, that's not them. Clicked the wrong car. But look, that is the difference it's made. Barely anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're actually still pitting a lap later. They are still quite within range there. That McLaren is going to soon make his way back up. But Jake Blackhall leading this train at the moment.
Interesting, though. Let me just show you the pit stop times on the left. Blackhall, 8 seconds he was in the pits for. Christian Rose, 8.3. Newman, Craig Vrolik and Styles, 10 seconds each. Morgan Butler was in for 8 seconds as well. The Pure Sims guys know exactly what they're doing with the fuel. That's what that tells me.
10. Well, either that or the 8-second boys. They've either risked something or...
No, what I was saying is the 8-second boys are the ones that know what they're doing.
Oh,
all the
the 8
Sims
seconds
guys
have gained the advantage. Sorry, I thought it was the 10, all the 10s. This is a damaged, sorry-looking Jordan.
Yeah.
That he's gonna pull that over. I thought so. That looked like a handful to drive.
When did he do that? Because
it wasn't here. This was his spin earlier. Oh, unless he did get hit there, but I don't think he did. This is. Oh man! Dear, a violent throw back into that tyre wall. That was a hell of a jump on that inside curb.
It really was. Sorry, we've
got someone in chat, Alex Nella, saying, or they're going to look like fools in about half an hour talking about the pit strategy of the 3 that have underfueled. Maybe they're going to save with all the slipstream fight. And the New Zealand driver, Cam Dance here, has come out in P6. And there is your top 4 ahead. So this might be P5. Might be silly. Where's the lead car? Oh, it's Swemstra, who hasn't stopped, of course. So he's extending his stint.
Yeah,
there he is.
Staying out at the moment. No stops for him. James Leggett hasn't stopped yet either. He's up to 13th place, but he's not really gained too much from staying out this long, so I'm intrigued to see when he comes in. Everybody else, though, has pitted at least once in this race. Looks like Khan Newen is out of the race after that one, I'm afraid. That's a real shame for Khan. Big old hit into the wall that was, but like you say, it was crazy the jump that he got, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's just caught that curb at the wrong point. He's absolutely launched the front end up in the air. The front end, of course, steering the car. So when he's landed, he is going straight towards that wall. Couldn't get the speed off anymore. And these guys come flying down the main straight in the sort of previous formation. Oh, there's one of the Benettons making a move on the McLaren. That's the 58 of Pete Newman up the inside of turn 1. That's a great shot there, looking back from the Williams. But that is Newman back up into the effectively net P2,
Yes.
waiting for Zwemstra to pit.
It's intriguing that Jake has done exactly what he did at Phillip Island, where after the pit stops he came out in front, because he was sort of in the middle of the pack at Phillip Island that was battling for the front spots, as that was close by Silas. But then eventually he's actually ended up in front of these guys, and while they scrap, he's starting to get away.
Yeah, that was the McLaren looking to the inside, Silas looking to the inside of turn 4, and that has gained that gap that we can physically see already just in those two corners. The more fighting these boys do, the more Blackwell will be looking in his mirrors and smiling, because he's just going to gain away. It's nearly a second just from that little look in turn 4, but at the same time, you got a big old long straight coming up as Styles goes down the inside of Rose. Can't hold it round out there. I need to stop doing that. I've sidetracked myself again. Oh, yeah, the long straight, slipstream straight, should be able to close that 1 second gap back up if he can get the exit right on the final corner.
Now, pit lane time is about 28 to 30 seconds. Kevin Zemstra is only 13 seconds ahead of Jake Blackwell at the moment, so he's certainly not going to have the race lead when it comes down to it. This is Ben Gregory and Morgan Butler. These two have been having a nice little fight a bit further down the order, but Toby Ward, I'm afraid, has gone off the circuit and had a big moment. Is he just going to spin? Yes. Oh, he nearly catches it as well. Oh, he keeps it out of the wall, though. Look how bright that car is. It's gorgeous. But yeah, he nearly ends up in the wall. But this is still going on here, and to be honest, I think we're going to have 10 more laps to this, if I'm honest with you, Jack. I really hope it doesn't come to a head like it did at Phillip Island, but I like to think the guys have all learned their lesson from Phillip Island. They all know how closely you can race and how closely you should race. And I think a lot of them have been a bit more patient this time and a bit more, I don't know, they're a bit more aware of the situation. You know, they're not thinking, I have to send it here and I have to go for it. They're just thinking, I can slipstream up to this guy, maybe I can just back out. Jack Stiles says, no, Chels, shut up, watch this, down the inside.
The other thing is, you've got they've got, oh, look at that for a switchback from Jack Stiles. Is he going to get it done around the outside of this next right-hander? He's got the run around the outside. Just can't quite. That McLaren really hugs the apex nicely. Is he going to get a better exit? No, he has to tuck him behind. But it's top 12 get points. So any incident here, they could drop out of that top 12, and it's going to show the drivers that have a sort of battle versus war mentality in a championship season. Kevin Zwemstra does come in the pits from the lead, but you've got the points from this race. Are they going to risk everything for an extra few points by gaining that one position, or are they going to happily settle for where they are just to sort of get their championship off the ground this early in round 2? Every point will matter, and those that consistently finish in the top 6 rather than those trying to win every time and potentially crash are probably going to find themselves in a better position later in the season.
Yeah, that's it, definitely. I mean, we've seen it before in the British Touring Car Championship. We call it the Turkington effect. You know, you had the incredible Ash Sutton doing what he does best, you know, being an incredibly exciting racing driver, but he went for the odd move here and there that then cost him points because he'd get involved in incidents. Meanwhile, Turkington would sit there and crack on with the job at hand and, you know, not be the most exciting to watch, but he's just quick enough to just score point after point after point, and he won titles like that, and that's just what you've got to be. You've got to be your Turkington in this situation. James Leggett's got a bit of damage on his wing, and he clips the grass on the way into turn 1 and has a big old spin, and I think after that he's actually come back into the pit lane, and I'm not sure if he's going to get going again. He's been stationary for a bit, maybe taking a fast repair, but now Blackwell has inherited the lead. Zemstra's come out in 7th, but he's 8 seconds off Christian Rose, and he's got Adam Hedgecock about 4.9 seconds back off him, so it's all pretty spread out still after this top lot, but even these guys are starting to have a bit of a gap between them. Got a battle going on here as well, actually. Toby Ward and Craig Schill. Toby sort of came over to the left end as if to say, go on then, try it. Like, sort of tried to size him up, didn't he?
The common, I was just looking at the pit stop times again whilst that was going on. The common pit stop time is that 10 seconds mark, so it'd be interesting to see where the 8 second boys end up. Have they run it a little bit too tight on fuel? I'm not sure. But Zwemstra has lost. Oh, big that was a touch into the back of that corner. Zwemstra lost a good few seconds in that pit stop phase for sure. He was down to around 6 seconds, I think, from the lead. He's now 10 seconds back from the lead, so he's lost 4 or 5 seconds during that phase. But it's not all done. They are still fighting up ahead. He's got what lap are we on? 16. So he's got 8 laps, hoping for these guys to start battling it out a bit harder. And he might be able to close that. Hedgehog, the underrated Sauber driver, is still there in P8. And Butler, I think, had an earlier issue, is still there in P9 also, as we see. Is that Lundgren off in the background there?
Yeah, Rob Lundgren having another spin there, unfortunately. We've been joined by royalty in the YouTube chat. Aidan Millward has joined us, and he's just put Turkington love heart. There is a lot of love for Turks. He is part of Zanshow, actually, that Aidan and I are both in, and both race for. Aidan's been doing a lot more racing recently as well on ACC, and got a very potent win the other day, which he was very, very pleased with. But look at this lot, mate. I mean, we're going to go back to the Blimpie boy, because, I mean, these 4 alone are exciting without Shifty and Jack Styles. Who's just had a moment as soon as I say that. Did he just spin in front of Christian? He did. Oh, Jack. Oh, Christian did a great job. Christian did an amazing job of avoiding that. Let's go on board and see it. Oh my God, that was close. I think it did. I saw the nose sort of morph in and out a little bit there. It did, didn't it?
The wing definitely got a tap. I think that'll be a difference in what happened on each other's screen. I reckon one of them got hit, and then on a different screen he didn't. So I'm not sure which is the real one, whether he's got damage on that wing or not. But this is... Look at this. Blackwell's down to 3rd. Silas takes the lead. Pete Newman is in 2nd. So they are still going at it, these top 4. Obviously, well, one of the McLarens has dropped back as well. Christian Rose obviously had to dodge that. The Ferrari of Styles. So we've still got these 4 going at it. 2 Benettons, a McLaren and a Williams.
Cracking stuff as ever. We need to look a little bit further back, though, because we've got Ben Gregory chasing down Morgan Butler once again. And he's starting to close in. Hasse Raymer and Martin Kenyon are having a little fight outside of the points. Hasse has just gained the place there. And Jake Blackwell's gone off. Oh. Jake Blackwell is off the road as soon as I look away. And right, again, near the end of the race, Jake has gone off the road. I really hope he hasn't had help with this. Jack Styles has just gone off as well. Oh, netcode for days. And it's funny that, actually, because... Well, it's not funny, but it's interesting that because they're both in the same region. They're both in New Zealand and Australia, and there is the tap. Jack Styles then went off. He's just had a spin all on his own. I think he's just lit it up out of the right-hand hairpin as well. Wow. So Zemstra's actually climbed up to 6th place now. And once again, Jake Blackwell has dropped down. Still has Craig Rollickers at the front, but Pete Newman's with him this time. He's not had a massive incident with Rob Lundgren this time, who I believe is out of the race now, and so too is James Leggett, unfortunately.
Yeah, three retirements at the moment of Nguyen, Lundgren and Leggett. But Silas, like you said, currently leading. I think at this point, Cam Dance, he's got to be the one to watch, hasn't he, with his late charges. Some people struggling with the cars in this late phase of the race. 6 laps to go. Blackwell obviously down there, no real fault of his own. Zwemstra has gained a position. Jack Styles really struggling with that Ferrari now after sort of spinning in 2 corners now. And look how close Dance gets into the braking zone at that corner. Obviously, fingers crossed we don't see another one, but that is his teammate up ahead, so you'd hope that it's all going to keep going, but they're not going to let Silas get away with this for sure. They're still well within the slipstream as they enter the final sector, and Silas has gone a little bit wide on exit. He's under threat from Newman there as they head down towards the final corner. He's not going to send it into the final corner, I don't think, although it would be funny to ruin his run and get both of the cars past, but there we go, on the exit. This is Cam Dance on board with him, and we'll see. Look at the slipstream he's going to get from 2 cars now. Is he going to be able to pass both of them? Both of these Benettons closing in on that McLaren. But watch the overspeed from having 2 slipstreams. They're both being forced to the outside. So the McLaren defends against the wall. They're 3 wide down the main straight. Who's going to come out on top? They're going to be squeezing, holding tight that McLaren into the apex of turn 1. Side by side they go, and Silas has absolutely carried the speed through perfectly. What a great defense, clean, and absolutely held his line. They got really close wheels-wise. They don't want to get that close again going down the main straight, but there we go. But now down towards turn 4, the number 58, Pete Newman is looking to the inside into turn 4. Is he going to forget how to turn left? Someone mentioned it in chat. I don't think he is. Look at that. They come through cleanly. It'll be a 1x, but he'll take it because he's going to try and keep the position. He's now on the inside for the next right-hander. And Cam, is he going to get involved or is he going to watch it happen?
Don't do it, Cam. Don't make it 3 wide. All the while, Christian Rose is behind all this thinking, go on, boys, get involved. Because there could be a 2 McLaren versus 2 Benetton fight going on here. Silas has just pushed it in a little bit too hard. But look, Christian Rose is getting within this. He's within a second of these boys now. So he's going to be right on it very soon.
Yeah, that's it. His teammate is doing everything he can in the right way. I mean, I don't know if he's doing it on purpose, but bringing his other McLaren pal back into the fray. And of course, that will help him because once that other McLaren starts attacking Cam and Newman, then that will kind of give Silas a bit of a break, who's had a cracking race so far. And still leads 1/10 of the way, but this is looking ever closer as they head up round this final turn on the straight. He's going to get the inside. He's squeezing his way through. This could be dangerous as they head towards the pit exit. He has forced his way to the inside as Newman, but now what is Silas going to do? He's going to hold Newman tight like he did. Is he going to return the favour? Cam Dance following the McLaren, but Newman is definitely in the lead at the moment. Can Silas hold it around the outside? The inside for turn 2. He is there, but he's not. We haven't seen anyone hold it around the outside of 3 yet. So that hasn't happened. But now the slipstream down towards turn 4, and they're still 3 wide. And now look at Rose. He's well back within this fight. He's in the slipstream of these 2, and he's going to close in on the lead Newman. And look at Silas. He swoops around the outside of turn 4. He goes off the exit. He's made the move stick. He's absolutely swarmed that Benetton. Cam's looking to get past Newman now.
Yeah, he's
getting impatient.
Yeah, he's thinking, right, Pete, you've had your time. It's my go now. Sunshine down the inside. So close to making contact. The pair of them, Pete says, not on your life, mate. We may be teammates, but I want to have a go at this McLaren first. You've already won a race. You're leading the championship. I've got no points. I want some. And Pete is going for the win.
From Newman. Sorry there, Chad. He went on the grass. I thought he was going to spin. He had 2 wheels on the grass as he chucked it into that right-hander. But yeah, very much showing Cam that he's not the pushover of the team, shall we say.
And Jake has actually gained a good 2.5 seconds on these boys as well. We've got 4 laps to go. I think Jake could actually start to catch up really closely to the back of this, and he could be in the picture come the end of this race. We've got still a battle going on between Ben Gregory and Morgan Butler. A bit further down there, closing in on Adam Hedgecock as well. 1.2 seconds between them. Jack Stiles is very much on his own in 7th. Zemstra's on his own in 6th. But this is the battle again at the front, and Pete Newman's gone way down the inside, but still Silas Kragvrolic holds it somehow around the outside. He's putting the car exactly where he needs it, and the 2 Benettons are more fighting with each other than anything else, and Alex Nella makes a valid point in the chat. I'm not sure if they're all driving out of respect or fear. That's very true. Oh, look at that move from Silas to the left. Tries to cover off Pete. He's got Cam right behind him, but still Silas has just got that car in the right position. Fantastic defensive driving off track again through turn 4. But Pete is all over him.
Defense, Chaz. I do love a good defense, and he's doing it perfectly. So far, it's really close to that late dart across. There's no contact. It's perfectly within the limits, and it really gets in the drivers' heads of the drivers behind with defenses like this. Like you know if you've broken them if they come over the radio and say that it's blocking. Because it's not blocking. It's just a harsh defense that they're not used to. But these boys, I imagine, have raced each other a fair bit over time. And it's showing at the moment. It really is. They're doing well. But Silas, 3 laps to go. You've got to say it's going to be a tall ask for him to do it, but it's absolutely more than possible. These guys are all using that extra curve on the exit now. Blackhall 3 seconds behind.
Yeah, well, 2.4 now. He was 3.5 on the previous lap at this point, so he's gained even more time on them now that they're fighting, and Silas is already in 2nd place. Gets a bit of overspeed on Pete. I think this is him practicing to see if he can beat him over the line, He's wide out of the final corner. Pete goes in front. This is all going to be about who is 2nd coming into the final corner. Everybody's seen Cam Dance do it at Phillip Island, and I think these guys know now that they don't want to be the car in front. But at the same time, they don't want to sit around and wait. Here's Jake Blackhall, 2.2 seconds. He's coming up through the order. Well, coming up through the order. He's coming up in the wing mirrors, or the rear view mirrors of these cars. I'll get the right word one day. Craig Schill has unfortunately ended his race here. He's hit the curb. He's just going to unbalance the car on exit, and... Oh, wow. Oh.
His radio message just came through. Yeah, you don't like that curve. He's calling it names.
Yeah, he's. He was saying earlier that he's not a massive fan of the Not a massive fan of this circuit, to be honest with you, so I'm not surprised in all honesty that he's that angry. But Jake now, look at this. Jake Blackhall is 1.8 seconds off Christian Rose with 2 laps to go. Jake could come through here, start the lap in 5th, and end up winning this with the slipstream he's going to get. I'm so excited. Can you tell?
I'm not sure I can handle another side-by-side 0,000th finish. But it's absolutely plausible that it's going to happen again 2 rounds in. And that, for a legacy car, why have they retired this thing? Bring it back. Are the officials like this?
They used to be, yeah. I remember racing them at Charlotte Oval. Can you imagine that? Absolutely unreal it was. Right, Cam needs to be really careful behind Silas here. He's putting so much pressure on him. They all move over to the left, then they all move over to the right. Pete Newman's put the car exactly where he wants it, right on the apex. We're on to the penultimate lap then of round 2 of the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship here at Interlagos. And Jake Blackhall is 1.5 seconds off the back of this quartet. Christian Rose hanging back a little bit. I'm wondering whether he's saving any fuel, but look, Pete Newman instantly going defensive. Silas says no. I don't want to play that game. I want to have a good scrap. And that's so close through turn 4. So close. We've seen these guys make contact like that before. The outside car turning into the outer rear wheel of the inside car. And then the two of them will both go off the road. There's contact there as they go through the double right. But somehow they both survive it. Pete Newman just turned in
well held.
A little bit too early.
Yeah, that was unreal from Silas there. The car control, he absolutely... that'll be worth trying to save what point that happened so that we can see a replay of his steering, because that car looks very twitchy. He's got damage on the front wing. I think whilst all this is going, we can't really escape from this, because this top 4, we're entering the final lap. But Ben Gregory has had an issue there in the Jordan and is now down in P11. Ben Hoffman's up into P10. I think he's just spun in the final corner. He has pushing to catch Butler. There he goes. And here we go back on with the fighters. This is it. We're approaching white flag. This is the final lap. Newman is leading the way. Silas is in P2. He's not losing too much pace. You got Cam Dance is still looking to pounce. You got Blackhall in the background. It's 1.1 second last time round. He's well within shot this time. And look at Silas trying to swoop round the outside of turn 1 once again. Pete's on the inside of turn 2. He's there. He's done it. He's on the outside of 3. This is going to get close. Cam pretty much pushing Silas down. And now the McLaren is on the outside of turn 4. We've seen him pull this move off before, but it could be ruined if Cam has a look to the inside and makes it 3 wide. Oh my God, I can't tell who's who anymore. There's too many people involved. He goes round the outside. There he goes. Is he going to use all the track like he did before? He does, and he gains that position for the lead. Newman now tucks in behind, and then Dance still in P3.
Oh no!
There.
Oh, Newman just gave him too much of a tap in the rear. There was no need to do it. He's damaged the rear wing on Silas's car. Cam Dance goes into the lead, and there's more contact. Pete's just pushing a little bit too hard now. He's really pushing too hard. His head's gone. And Jake Blackhall's got in 4th place here. Jake Blackhall's got past Christian Rose. Morgan Butler's off and out of the race. Morgan Butler's jumped back to the pit lane, but Cam Dance leads it in the Benetton. Silas Craig-Vrolic still 2nd place now. How close is Silas? Can he do it? Because Silas, don't forget, lost the lead at the very final moment at Phillip Island. Is he going to lose it here? Cam Dance leads them then out of the final corner at Interlagos for round 2 of the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship. Silas is going to chase him, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. Jake Blackhall loses out to Christian Rose, but round the final corner, 2 out of 2 for Cam Dance in the Benetton. Silas Craig-Vrolic is going to take 2nd place. Pete Newman 3rd, Christian Rose 4th, Jake Blackhall 5th, Kevin Zemstra 6th, and my God, I am sweating buckets. What a race, Jack.
Absolutely fantastic as the 2nd Ferrari comes across the line in P7, Jack Styles. So they did make it back to 6th and 7th there in the race. Blackhall down in P5. I'm not sure if that was a smart play from Rose. I wonder if he let him through or if there was an issue with him and Blackhall. Because it didn't look like Blackhall actually fought too much on the way up to the finish line. So it'll be interesting to see what happened with those two. But Newman, Silas and Cam Dance, another race win for him. As I think we had, like you said, we had Morgan Butler off in the background. Jakub Szymanski, P12, taking the final points of the race there.
This is what happened to Morgan. That's out of fuel. Oh, Morgan runs out of fuel at the last possible moment, right at the end of the race as well. But we need to have a quick look back at the moment that we had between Pete Newman and Silas, because, well, this is way before it. But the two of them made... Nope. Nope. It's not even the right bit. But there was a moment between Silas and Pete that we saw where Pete just pushed the back of Silas's car, and he just didn't need to get into him that much. I think it wasn't this lap, was it? It was the final lap where it all happened. But unbelievable performances by all of them. Here we go. So Pete's on the right. You can see Silas gets a tap from Cam Dance there. Pete's then on the inside. Silas does carry the pace around the outside, and yeah, you could argue that he gained a bit of an advantage by being out there, but he didn't get rid of the overlap completely until they'd exited the corner. But look here. Pete just starts to move left, and that's when he taps Silas, and that breaks the rear wing. Cam Dance, great opportunism around the outside. And then look again, more contact as Pete's a little bit late on the brakes. It just seemed like he was really rattled by the whole situation. We'll go on board with Christian Rose as well and see how these final corners panned out for him, because you can see this battle in front. Jake Blackhall would have been absolutely cacking his pants in 4th place throughout these final corners, not knowing what was coming his way. Let's see.
I'm really confused how that first contact happened. I feel like it was on the straight well before the right-hander. I'm not sure it was into the braking zone, but I don't know if it was just pure overspeed of the Benetton. Might be worth having a look at some onboards if you can. Oh, look, there he goes. He does pull over. I did think that I saw him just sort of let him through. Is he out of fuel?
Yeah,
oh, there he goes. Ran it tight.
What do we do now? Cam Dance is doing some donuts on the straight. My PC loves the frame rate from the smoke. But Cam Dance, 2 out of 2. You can't argue with that, really. Can't argue with that. He played the game very, very well there, I have to say. Fantastic stuff from Cam Dance. And here is your confirmed race result. Cam Dance wins 0.4 of a second back to Silas Craig-Vrolik, with Pete Newman in 3rd. 2 Benettons on the podium. 2 McLarens in the top 4, with Christian Rose finishing 4th. Jake Blackhall just misses out after running out of fuel. Kevin Zemstra and Jack Stiles get some good points for Ferrari in 6th and 7th. Adam Hedgecock is 8th, with Ben Hoffman 9th after a tough ride for him. And then Ben Gregory rounds out the top 10. He's very, very angry at himself, as he says in the chat, for looping that. John Tusting finishes 11th, and Jakub Szymanski is the last points finisher here at Interlagos, getting his first points on the board this season. Hasse Raymer just misses out, just under a minute down on the leaders in 13th place. And then we have Martin Kenyon 14th, Toby Ward in 15th, and then the drivers a lap down or more, with Morgan Butler, after devastatingly running out of fuel right at the end. Craig Schill was out of the race, so too was Rob Lundgren, James Leggett, and Khan Newen.
Yeah, amazing luck for, well, I say luck for Morgan Butler, but they get to choose how much fuel they put in, don't they, or how much they use. But yeah, last lap, and we saw it wasn't just Morgan. Jake Blackhall running out of fuel on the last lap. I thought I saw it in the background where he didn't put up a fight. It just looked like he let him pass, but obviously he did, but didn't lift off. He just absolutely started choking. I don't know if you can have a look at the replay again of if you can find it, of the Newman thing. I kind of want to see an onboard from Newman first if we can.
So this was Pete defending, or is it? No, apologies. No. Why can't I ever find the right bit?
It's because they've been going at it for 24 laps.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why.
So this is it now. So Pete Newman's on the inside defending, doing everything he can. And then Silas, you're going to see him go flying around the outside, but he does go off the road and gain that advantage. And I think it's just as Pete starts to pull to the left, he just catches that sort of crash structure there, look, there. Just catches inside the suspension on Silas' car. They're not even braking at that point, it's flat out. And then again, look. Oh, he's just so close. So close to him there. Unbelievable.
Yeah, in fairness, after watching that back from his point of view, I don't think he lost his head there. I think that was just sort of clumsy with different braking zones. You actually saw Silas bounce over that inside curb of 5, lose the rear end slightly, and Pete actually lifted off there when he definitely had another opportunity to drive in the back of him to make it 3rd, but he chose not to. So I think in fairness, that was just close sort of accidental touches. Didn't need to be, like you said though, what could have been avoided. It has handed Cam and what potentially might not have been another win, but we can't take that away from Cam. He absolutely kept his car in that position and was there to take the opportunity when it presented itself.
Yeah, definitely. It was an absolutely mega race. Plenty of fun. So much going on out there. And one man that was right in the thick of it was this guy here. Tell you what, Christian, that was just unbelievable fun to watch. How was it behind the wheel there? Because it looked pretty stressful at some points again, just like last time.
Stressful was the word. It was, hectic. You know, I spent the whole race thinking, I'm just going to sit here and hope I get an opportunity at the end, and it didn't quite materialise. But you know, fourth place, I can't really complain too much.
Yeah, it seemed like some of you Pure Sims boys took a little bit less fuel than everybody else. You were all doing 8-second pit stops where everyone else did 10 seconds. Jake and Morgan both running out of fuel at the end. Did you think that you just had to do a little bit of saving, maybe in some slipstream?
Well, thankfully with how it was, you were able to save. I was lifting off so much towards the end of pretty much every straight. You know, a good 200 meters early, because I just didn't want to get too close and get involved in the fight and slow the whole train down too much.
Yeah.
I took the bare minimum that I thought I needed, and thankfully it was just enough.
Well, I mean, I don't have many words at the minute for how exciting that was. There was so much going on, but I mean, is it sort of what you hope for the rest of the season, or do you hope that it calms down a little bit? Because there were a few scary moments in a bit of that there, wasn't there?
Hopefully it calms down a tiny bit. You know, at the moment it seems like, you know, the velodrome racing where they just wait for the final lap and then absolute hell breaks loose. It feels a bit like that at the moment. But no, it's still good fun regardless, and looking forward to the next race already.
Well, Imola might not be so much of a slipstreaming fest, but that turn one run, so could be intriguing. But still, a mega result again. Great for both you and Silas. You know, strong points for the team's championship. Good for your drivers' championship. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just a shout out to everyone at Pure Sims, all the boys on the esports side and on the business side too. Thanks to Jake, Pete, and Morgan. You know, racing in this championship as well. Huge thanks to them. And see you next time.
Lovely stuff. Great to speak to you, Shifty. Well done on the result, mate. And we'll see you at Imola.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers. Well, there we go. And as you can imagine, a bit worn out by that one is Christian. But someone else that's going to be worn out after taking his second win in a row, 100% record this season, Cam Dance. Cam, it didn't look like it was going to materialise that quickly for you. But all of a sudden, when the fight broke out between Pete and Silas, it was just handed to you on a plate.
Yeah, pretty much. I was fully expecting it was going to be like something like a four-way finish on the way to the line. So I can't complain to end up coming away with the win there. I wasn't actually sure if I was going to end up winning it as well, depending on where I ended up placing myself. So can't complain with the result at all. More points towards the championship, and another win on the board.
And how was the car over the long run? Because we saw a couple of guys start to struggle with them a little bit, maybe just burning up the rear tyres and overdoing it on wheel spin out of corners. Did you feel like it really went off near the end?
Not particularly. It sort of kept its balance for most of the race. I was looking after my tyres for the most part, knowing that I didn't want to burn them up too quickly or use them up a little bit too much. So I was just sort of cruising around a bit, and also obviously sitting behind Pete and Celeste and them. It was just not too much about pushing, but rather just being in cruise control mode and seeing what they were doing and trying to work out what we're going to possibly do in the end.
Well, it certainly worked out. I mean, big points to start the championship off. Imola is next up, a very different circuit, much narrower, a lot more stop-start, not as many slipstreaming opportunities. What are you thinking about going there?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, slipstream's not going to be so much of a problem there. I think one-shot qualifying is going to be interesting, especially with those high curves and stuff. So, fully expecting there's maybe going to be a few people getting off tracks and not setting times, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, I like Imola, and it's a decent track. So, yeah, we'll look forward to it and see what happens.
Well, very well done, Cam. Fantastic result once again, mate. Great championship start for you. Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Just first of all, shout out to Celeste for giving me the win. Also, shout out to Jack and the boys from Fifth Side Motorsport, as always, and all our partners.
Beautiful stuff. Well, great to speak to you as ever, Cam. Well done, mate, and have a good evening, or, well, it's a good morning for you where you are. Have a good morning of it, and we'll see you next time round.
Yeah, we'll do. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. And to be honest, Jack, I think as a final interview, it's always worth having another commentator in the box, just missing out on the points at the end. But surely Hasse Raymer will be happy with how qualifying went. Hasse, that was much better than last week, it has to be said.
Yeah, I made it halfway through turn 1 before spinning. That was excellent. I had a plan of getting to turn 1, and I made it. And then it went a little bit sideways. It went around and around, and yeah, on we went. It was a little bit of a hectic one, but it's nice to see the checkered flag for sure.
And, well, I mean, in the middle of the race, you know, there's always cars around you in this, but this time it seemed a little bit more spread out than Phillip Island was. I mean, was that something you expected, or did you think it was going to be the same sort of slipstreaming fest we saw from round 1?
I wasn't quite sure. I expected a lot of slipstreaming, but I also expected it to be sort of difficult to really make the difference if you were in front of someone with the big straights. I had a bit of a lonely race in the end, and I was hoping to maybe be able to claw back a bit more positions because, you know, it was a bit of a shame. I saw I had good pace, and I wasn't really expecting to have that kind of pace, but it was nice, and it's some good stuff to take on to the next one.
Yeah, definitely, and that next one in particular is Imola. Is that a track that you enjoy?
Yes, certainly. It's a favorite of mine, so I hope to be doing well there.
Well, we look forward to seeing how you get on, mate. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Well, I've never been on this side of the table, Chaz. It's so weird. I'd like to shout out my team, Simpact Racing. It's nice to have the chance, and yeah, my lovely wife that not only keeps up with all the racing, but also the shouting that goes on once in a while. I think that's about right. But also, thanks for having me as well. It's always a pleasure.
Lovely to have you, Hasse. Great to see you out on track, mate. And hopefully some points on the board at Imola. We'll have to wait and see.
Fingers crossed.
Cheers, mate. Well, there you go then, Jack. Another day's racing is just about complete, I'd say. That was another hectic one, but another great win for Cam Dance. He played the game throughout that one. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talking about the contact and all of the battling going on there for the next few weeks, but what a great championship we've got already, to be honest. It shows that Phillip Island wasn't a one-off, doesn't it?
It does show that. It does. It really does. So we thought, obviously, the slipstream played a part. Phillip Island with its long, flat-out sections. This one a little bit different. Obviously, yeah, one main straight, but a twisty section in the middle. And absolutely, the gap's pretty much the same in that top sort of train. Imola, a technical circuit on its way. Another one with sort of long straights and many chicanes and dangerous curbs, and an update to its sort of invalidation zones, which will be interesting to see how these drivers adapt to them. It's a lot stingier than it used to be in terms of 1Xs and slowdowns, especially at that chicane. And if we're honest, if we look at just the results and seeing Cam Dance winning both races, it really doesn't do them justice. Obviously, last time out being 0 thousandths across the line, and this time out, the top 6 going at it for 24 full laps. Cam Dance coming out on top in both of those. Can he do it a third time in a row on the 23rd of March?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, and you'll all have to join us there, because for now, it is time to say goodbye from the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship. I've been Chaz Draycott, joined by the wonderful Jack Johns. It's been fantastic fun for you. Blackhall has another bit of an issue throughout this race and gives Cam Dance 2 wins out of 2. Let's be fair, it's not all on Jake, is it? But still, fantastic start to the season for Cam Dance, and we'll have to see how we get on in 3 weeks' time. But for now, it's good evening, and we'll see you soon.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.